7 months ago, I discovered my wife was having an affair. I am now ready to leave, and I owe this Reddit a great deal of thanks. Reading through the posts here helped navigate these past few months. This is not new to me. I have worked through many of the emotions, so if I come off as not caring or just posting the facts, it's because of that. Believe me when I say I have been through an emotional ringer these past months. I just want to get the facts out and ask for some opinions. Sorry it's so long. 7 months ago, I was sucker punched by my wife's affair partner in a bar. My wife, her brother and his wife, and my wife's best friend and her husband decided to grab drinks after attending a concert. I don't drink, so I became the designated driver as usual. At one point, the ladies went to the restroom and two came back, but my wife did not. Her best friend stated she was having some stomach trouble and would be along shortly. After a few minutes, I needed to go myself, so I went to the restroom. As I made my way through the crowd, I spotted my wife standing and talking to a man. He had his hand on her hip and she had hers on his shoulder. It struck me as a very intimate pose. She noticed me immediately and disengaged with the man as I reached them. She grabbed my arm to pull me back toward our table as I asked who he was. The guy replied, "None of your business," and at the same time, my wife pulled me again. As I turned to her to ask her again who this was, the guy punched me on the side of the head. I stayed on my feet, but I immediately felt myself going back. He had tackled me and slammed me against the wall hard enough to where I blanked out. I could hear, but I could not see or make sense of what was going on. He apparently punched me at least twice before my brother-in-law tackled him and proceeded to beat him senseless. This was relayed to me later. My next coherent thought was in an ambulance. The affair partner was taken to the emergency room and later arrested. My brother-in-law was arrested, but charges dropped, and I stayed in the emergency room overnight and into the next day to rule out any side effects of a concussion. I was interviewed by the police eventually, and they seemed surprised that I did not know the man that attacked me. They said my wife told them it was a misunderstanding and that the guy was someone she worked and got handsy and everyone just overreacted. A day or two later, my brother-in-law, who had been very cold toward my wife since that night, came by and sat down and explained he needed to tell me something. Apparently, while I was knocked loopy, the guy kept telling everyone he had been fucking my wife for months. Obviously, I was completely stunned at this. He told me he didn't have proof, but he believed the guy was telling the truth. He struggled with telling me, so he did some research on how the best way to handle this was, and he realized that it was the right thing to do to tell me. He used Reddit as part of his research and recommended I join and read some of the posts about infidelity and make a decision on how to handle this. That's when I joined Reddit, and this account was born. It didn't take long to realize that I needed to get my emotions under control and start looking for facts. Apparently, gaslighting and rewriting history is common, and I am 100% sure my wife would do this. So I cried, yelled, punched, etc. I got it out of my system as much as I could. That night when she came home, I could barely contain myself, but every day it got a little easier. 2 days later, I was able to get a hold of her phone and did a quick search, and there it was. Pictures, texts, videos, etc., all of it. She didn't even try to hide it. She's not tech savvy, but then again, she knew I never checked her phone. Over the next few days, I was able to copy the texts between them and the pictures and videos. Eventually, I checked other texts and realized her BFF was helping her hide it and was encouraging it. The BFF actually confesses to having her own affair a few years ago. I exported those texts. My brother-in-law and I made the mutual decision to exclude him from any further information the day he told me, but I did reach out to my sister. Her and her husband have rental property, and they promised to give me a heads up when they have a home open up so I can have a place to stay. That took almost 6 months, but I now have a home I can rent, and I am able to finally leave. It's been horrible these past few months acting like I care about our marriage and trying to love a person I have been married to for 32 years and together for 35 years. Yes, we have had sex during this time. Not often. It has not been gentle, I am ashamed to say. Nor has it been to satisfy her in any way. It's basically been very impersonal. A means to an end. I have to act like I did not see the videos and pictures she made with him and for him. Or read the I love yous in their texts. Or when he texted her 3 days after hitting me and bragged about taking me down so quickly, and her replying with a smiley face emoji. The pain that level of betrayal brings is beyond bearing at times. With that, I am now ready to leave. I have divorce papers in hand. I have an envelope full of copies of the texts, pictures, and stills from the videos. I know who he is and where he lives. I know who his wife is and where she works. I even know his children's name and where they go to school. I am torn about disrupting their lives, but I am most definitely going to send a copy of everything to his wife. I am struggling with confrontation or ghosting. I understand the dangers of confronting her and how she can play it into a situation where I could get arrested, but I truly want to see her face when I show her everything I know. Maybe it's having to stay quiet for all these months, but I really want that view of shock and possibly shame when I tell her. But I can also see the benefit of just leaving it on the counter and walking away. This may be silly to ask everyone, but until now I've had a clear goal to gather and prepare to leave, but now I have a choice and would like some opinions. Some quick info about us. Finances are separate with a joint checking savings. I have a larger retirement, but she has a pretty well-funded one herself. We sold our family home 2 years ago and bought a small empty nester's home, paid cash and invested the rest in retirement. I am male 58 and she is female 57. We both have taken good care of ourselves physically and she is every bit a beautiful woman. The affair partner is 35. We have 3 children, 31 male, 28 female, and 25 female. The oldest is married, and the other 2 are living on their own with solid careers and stable relationships. If I ghost her, I will need to contact them and talk to them so they do not worry. I plan to either confront this week or ghost next weekend, while she and her BFF have a shopping trip to a major city 2 hours away planned. Update 1. Wow. This really has been overwhelming in less than 24 hours. I've had a lot of questions and a lot of great opinions. I'll try to answer some of the common questions. She has shown only a slight concern early on after the assault that I might suspect something. Last I looked at her phone was over a month ago, and she was completely back into the affair with no mention of me knowing. They stopped meeting up for about 3 weeks after the assault, but continued sexting and sending videos. She did express a need to stop before she lost her family, but as of last month, they were still meeting up and having sex. He was arrested and did a plea deal for simple assault. Spent Saturday night, Sunday, and Monday in jail until he was released on bail. Got community service and paid some court fines. Wife explained away the guy's claims by saying he had a crush on her and was just drunk. I plan on telling the OBS, the BFF's husband, and notifying HR at their work. I have a plan for them. I'll tell our kids. She is a good mother. I'm not sure of the circumstances that have resulted in her making the choices, but she is still their mother, and not once has she been neglectful to them or their needs. Again, thank you all for your advice, and the many of you have made some really good arguments for both ghosting and confrontation. Plus, I appreciate the precautions you have suggested in case I confront her. Update 2. Again, just to answer some things that have come up in the comments. I have taken an STD test since the last time we had sex, which has been a while. Clean. My lawyer has paperwork completed, and we have a proposal that is fair, and the lawyer doesn't care how she is served just as long as there are police involved or abuse. Alimony is a thing, but due to my situation and the fallout from my exposure, there are backup plans in our proposed divorce settlement. I'll leave that alone for now. But suffice to say there will probably be a cost, but not something I'm worried about. Again, since I have plans to contact all that have been affected, I'm sure there will be a certain financial cost, especially if she loses her job. I'm not worried about anyone else. Can't get sued for exposing facts. I'm not interested in suing anyone even if I could. Not sure. The energy I'm expending right now and have over the past few months is not worth it to me to get some nominal court ruling. I have pretty much concluded that ghosting is the right thing. I have read how others have done it on here, and I will probably utilize some of their tactics. I have a plan to get one more look at her phone later this week. I have not looked at it for some time, but an opportunity has come up that all but ensures I can look and have a very, very low risk of getting caught. I don't want to get this far and screw it up now. She has been more present lately. I really haven't noticed it until this morning. Not sure what is going with that. And what I mean is she's back to asking about my day, going out of her way to kiss me bye and hello. After reflecting a little, this seems to have started about a week ago, so something has shifted, I think. That's another reason why I want to look at her phone again. Not that it will change anything, but this will be the final time I have an unfiltered view of what has been going on. Once I ghost her, I won't be able to gather any more information. Finally, I don't plan on going into gory details with my children. I will tell them, but honestly, the conversation will just happen naturally. I cannot in any way plan out that conversation. Update 3. I checked her phone for one last time and learned that she has apparently ended the affair. This appears based on dates to have had happened just 2 days after my last peek at her phone. Obviously, I can only go by what I see, so I'll accept that she did end it. The real evidence came in her BFF messages. She confirmed with her best friend forever and stated that she had been trying to end it since the incident in the bar. That she claims snapped her back to reality. Still took her almost 5 months, so go figure. She even addressed the smiley face reply by saying she was too scared to say anything against him because it looked like everything was blowing up and she didn't know what he was capable of doing. Again, took 5 months to end it. Her BFF stayed true to her shitty character. My wife almost confessed twice in the past month, but BFF talked her out of it. One of these I actually remember based on what she told her friend. She had come home for lunch a week ago this past Monday. Not unheard of but rare, and had not happened in the last year. Her eyes appeared swollen like she had been crying. She was going to tell me that day, but chickened out. Oh, and the BFF gave me enough clues to figure out her affair partner. While trying to talk my wife out of telling me, she said, BFF's husband would have kicked me out and left me broke 2 years ago if he knew I fucked our neighbor, not to mention how upset BFF's daughter would have been. BFF's daughter was a senior in high school 2 years ago. Their neighbor across the street was and is a math teacher at her high school. He and his wife are known to us obviously, as he has been a teacher for over 10 years at the same school. So, yeah, another family blown up by infidelity. Nothing has changed. I have decided ghosting is probably the best route. I have my plan ready, but I'll save that. I think I need to keep these as actual updates and not talk about future plans or ideas. I don't know when I'll update because the plan I have will be a kind of 1-2 punch, and I expect a lot to happen quickly and then things settle down. Then I have a third punch, so to speak. And again, I'm getting a lot of legal advice. I appreciate your concern, but I have a lawyer that I am happy with and has given me plenty of legal advice. No offense, but since I'm paying her for legal advice, it's her legal advice I'll follow. Divorce in my state is pretty straightforward and not very hard. Very short waiting period if uncontested. I'm aware of the ramifications of what I'm planning. Thanks everyone for your support and advice. Those that have reached out in private, thank you. Some I have had discussions with, other I have not. Please don't take offense, just too many to engage with.